I was sitting in my new office on the 20th floor, watching the city lights flicker below as the sun set behind the buildings. My company had just signed the biggest contract in its history, $3.2 million, with a national logistics firm. 7 years of 16-hour days, cold ramen dinners, and sleepless nights had finally paid off. I felt like I could breathe for the first time in years. Then my phone rang. "Mom," I smiled, thinking she was calling to congratulate me. Instead, her voice came through cold and sharp. "We need to talk about money. Your sister needs a new car, and your brother's rent is due." I never imagined that my success would become my biggest burden. Before I tell you how my own family tried to bleed me dry, drop a comment below and let me know where you are watching from. Hit that like button if you have ever felt taken advantage of by the people closest to you, and subscribe because this story gets wild. Trust me, you will want to hear what I did next. My name is Braden, and I am 32 years old. I grew up in Portland, Oregon, in what most people would call a normal middle-class family. Nothing fancy, nothing terrible, just ordinary. My dad worked construction, my mom held down an office job at an insurance company, and we had enough to get by. I have a younger sister, Jenna, who is 28 now, and a younger brother, Kyle, who is 25. We were close growing up the way siblings are supposed to be. Everything changed when I was 16. My dad died in a car accident on his way home from a job site. One moment he was there, the next he was gone. My mom, Linda, was left to raise 3 kids on her own with just her modest salary. She worked herself to the bone, picking up overtime whenever she could. We were not poor, but money was always tight. There were no vacations, no new clothes, unless absolutely necessary, no extras. I became the man of the house overnight. I started working at 17, bagging groceries after school, then moved to waiting tables on weekends. Every paycheck went toward helping Mom with bills, buying groceries, making sure Jenna and Kyle had what they needed for school. I did not mind. Family takes care of family. That is what Dad would have wanted. I was good with computers, always had been. So I went to college for computer science, taking out $40,000 in student loans because we could not afford tuition. I graduated with decent grades and landed a job at a big tech company in Seattle. The salary was good $75,000 a year, which felt like a fortune compared to what I grew up with. I spent the next 3 years living in a tiny apartment, driving a beat-up Honda Civic, eating home-cooked meals, and funneling every spare dollar toward paying off those loans. When I was 25, I made a decision that everyone thought was insane. I quit my stable, well-paying job to start my own software company. I had an idea for logistics management software that could streamline supply chains for mid-sized businesses. The market was there, I knew it. But starting a business meant risk, and my family did not understand. Mom was furious. "You had a stable job, Braden. Why would you throw it away?" Jenna called me irresponsible. Kyle just shrugged and said he hoped I knew what I was doing. But I had to try. I could not spend my whole life working for someone else, building their dream instead of my own. The first 2 years nearly broke me. I lived in a studio apartment that was barely bigger than a closet. I worked 16-hour days, sometimes 18. I ate ramen noodles and peanut butter sandwiches because I could not afford anything else. There were nights I lay awake wondering if I had made the biggest mistake of my life. My savings drained to almost nothing. I stopped going out, stopped seeing friends, stopped doing anything that cost money. But slowly, painfully, things started to turn around. In year 3, I landed my first major client, a regional trucking company, then another. Then another. By year 5, I had 15 employees and annual revenue in the millions. By year 7, which is now my company, was thriving. We had contracts with multiple major firms, and my personal income had climbed to around $400,000 a year. I had made it. I had actually made it. That is when the phone calls started. The first one came 2 days after I signed that $3.2 million contract. Mom called and asked me to come over for dinner on the weekend. I thought it would be a celebration. Maybe she would finally acknowledge that quitting my job had not been such a crazy idea after all. Instead, when I walked into her house, I found myself sitting across from her at the kitchen table, the same table where we used to do homework as kids, and she hit me with it. Jenna needs a new car. Hers is 12 years old and the engine is shot. It is going to cost $25,000 for something reliable. And Kyle has been out of work for 4 months. He cannot make rent. He needs $2,500 a month until he gets back on his feet. I sat there processing what she was saying. Your father would want you to take care of us, she added, her eyes soft but her tone firm. You are successful now. Family helps family. The guilt hit me like a truck. Dad would have wanted that, would he not? I thought about all those years. Mom worked overtime, all the sacrifices she made. I thought about how I used to help out when I was younger, how that was just what we did, and honestly, I could afford it. $25,000 for a car was not going to ruin me. $2,500 a month for Kyle was manageable at least for a little while, so I said yes. I bought Jenna a used Honda Accord for $22,000. It was 3 years old, low mileage, reliable. I transferred $2,500 to Kyle to cover his rent for the month. I thought that would be it, that this was just a one-time thing to help them through a rough patch. But when I handed Jenna the keys, her reaction was not what I expected. She looked at the car, ran her hand along the hood, and said, "It is about time you helped out." No hug, no real thank you, just a sense of entitlement that made my stomach turn. Kyle did not even call to thank me. He sent a text that night. Got it. Thanks. That was it. 2 words. I drove home, feeling uneasy like something was off. But I pushed it down. They are just going through a hard time, I told myself. People get stressed when money is tight. It is fine. It was not fine. 2 months later, my phone rang again. It was Jenna. The car you bought me does not have heated seats or a backup camera. I need an upgrade. I was in the middle of a meeting with my development team when she called. I stepped out into the hallway confused. What do you mean an upgrade? I mean, this car is fine, but it is not really what I wanted. I need something a little nicer. Maybe $30,000, Jenna. The car I bought you works perfectly. It is reliable, safe, and gets great gas mileage. I cannot afford to keep upgrading. There was silence on the other end. Then her voice went cold. You make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and you cannot help your own sister. You have changed, Braden. You have really changed. She hung up before I could respond. I stood there in the hallway, staring at my phone, feeling like I had just been punched in the gut. I had not changed. I was the same person I had always been. I just was not going to be an ATM. A week later, Kyle called. Still no job. Still needed rent money. $2,500 for month 2. Have you been applying for jobs? I asked, trying to keep my voice neutral. Yeah, man, but nothing has come through yet. The market is tough right now. I wanted to believe him. I transferred the money. Then Mom called. I heard you said no to Jenna. She is really hurt, Braden. I took a deep breath. Mom, I already bought her a car, a good car. She wants me to buy her another one because it does not have heated seats. She is your sister. She has always struggled. You have so much now. Why are you being stingy? Stingy. That word hung in the air. I had given Jenna $22,000 and Kyle $5,000 so far, and I was being called stingy. A week after that conversation, Mom dropped the real bomb. I want to retire early. I have worked my whole life, Braden. I am 58. I am tired. You are successful now. Can you not help me retire early? I just need $3,000 a month. I did the math in my head immediately. $3,000 a month times 12 months equals $36,000 a year. If she retired now and did not start collecting Social Security until 65, that was 7 years. 7 years times $36,000 equals $252,000. $250,000. Mom, that is a lot of money. And you will have Social Security at 65. Can you not work a few more years? Her voice cracked. I raised you by myself after your father died. I sacrificed everything for you kids. I worked overtime. I went without. I made sure you had what you needed. And now you will not help me. The guilt crushed me. But underneath it, anger was starting to simmer. I had worked just as hard. I had sacrificed just as much. I had built something from nothing, and now I was being made to feel like a selfish monster for not handing over $250,000. I told her I needed time to think about it. That did not go over well.